All right, good morning, everybody. Kind of in deep today. um, so this is a deck that I actually started off working on before we kind of settled on this version of the mono black deck that we've all come to know and love so well. And I think I finally got it to a state where I like it. This is, of course, the Mono Black Cabal Coffers engine, and we're also pairing with Persist Unmarked Grave instead of the Archon of Cruelty engine instead. Or sorry, instead of the Karn the Great Creator, more Liliana's more mid-rangey engine. And weirdly enough, I actually think Golos is the card that kind of ties the room together here. That makes sense. Where not only does Golos get one issue I really had with this deck before was yes, you can card cast your Archons, but you just didn't really have anything else to do with your mana. Besides hardcast the Archons, because at first I was playing 4 Lilianas, discard the Archons, blah blah blah. But I think Golos not only bridges that gap really well, giving you another great mana sink, but it just I think this version of this deck is all about nut draws, right? It's mulliganing to a hand that either has Cabal, Coffers, plus Urborg, and something big fast, or mulliganing to a hand that has Unmarked Grave plus Persist. And so, just Golos is just another way to have those nut draws. If that makes sense. Would Gyre Sanitary make sense as a Golos target? I considered it. I considered playing it over the Blast Zone. I think the reason why I don't think that's good is because if you're casting Golos, you have enough mana to cast Archon the next turn. And so the only way you would want to get Gaia Reach Sanitarium, right, is if you have Archon of Cruelty in your hand and a Persist in your hand, right? So if you have Archon of Cruelty in your hand, you can just card cast the Archon next turn and then Persist it if it gets countered or killed. Is at least my thought process. What do I know? My point with this is always, what do I know? I don't work for WotC. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But it just there's just so much it's just always I really think they're gonna do it. I think it's Magic Dice today. I'm obviously being a little hyperbolic, but that certainly feels like the vibe. It always feels like the vibe. Magic is dying today, Spike. There's an announcement. I think the EV of playing at O2 is not very good. If you're gonna win your next 3 matches, it's way better EV to be 3-2 or 3-0 than 3-2, and there's also the time consideration too. Playtesting quality also gets worse at O2, which isn't maybe necessarily the most relevant. But how would they even kill Magic? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm being pretty hyperbolic. I will say that that attitude was always really prevalent during Modern Horizons 2 spoiler season too. That was maybe when it was at its worst. Great draw. Modern Horizons 2 spoiler season was a scary time for the community. We were having a good time, we were playing a lot of Modern, but it would be the very common prevailing opinion, just it seemed everybody's opinion was that we've had a good run, things are fun in Modern right now, but as soon as Modern Horizons 2 comes out, there's going to be a new Hogak and the format is going to be ruined for sure. That was just everybody's opinion, it seemed. Can you blame them? I'm not saying it may seem like I'm disagreeing with these attitudes necessarily, or sorry, these opinions. I don't think that that's a crazy unreasonable stance to take. I don't think it's crazy to think that Wizards is going to make a dumb decision today. But what I am saying is, I just have to see it a lot, and it's just a lot for me. That's what I'm trying to say. I may be communicating that point not very well. So I'm gonna get Cabal Coffers next turn. I think I still suspend the Profane Tutor here. They're kind of right, though. I don't think so. I think Modern Horizons 2 has been an incredibly big boon for the format. Obviously, it is not a perfect set. It's not the perfectly designed set. Modern Horizons 2 was great. At least in my opinion. They kind of killed Modern as it existed. You can have that take, I guess. That's your opinion. If you want to have it, I think Modern Horizons 2 was great for the format. I think it's kind of hard to argue that Modern Horizons 2 was not an overall like net positive. The player base is way bigger. I think gameplay is better overall. You can't argue. It's obviously like it's just your opinion. You can have the opinion, but I disagree at least. I'm curious to why some modern players think the format changing means ruin. Yeah, I mean that's just kind of the attitude of a lot of players is that like things staying the same equals good, which is like again that's the thing about Magic is like, and this is especially something like you have to learn as a streamer, is that it's impossible to please everybody. I think I'll cast Golos this turn. It's impossible to please everybody, and no matter what happens, somebody's day gets ruined. Every day, no matter what happens, somebody's day is getting ruined. And that's okay. Sometimes your day gets ruined. Sometimes you get to play Elden Ring instead. It's all okay. The world keeps moving on. And no matter what happens, I get asked about it, which is fine. I'm not trying to seem like I complain too much about that part exactly. Okay, so I have enough mana to Thoughtseize, Unmarked Grave, Persist. It's maybe better to Unmarked Grave first, because if they have 2 counter spells, I really don't want them to counter the Unmarked Grave. Okay, this is fine. I'll just take the Consider and then go Unmarked Grave, Persist with the ability to pay for Spell Pierce. And if they pounce my Archon of Cruelty, it doesn't really matter because I just have the ability to recast it. I guess I need to draw land to recast it. Is this a split of Cabal Coffers where they're working using Reanimator? It is, yeah, it is. I think you have to take the Consider. It's just so bad if they consider it to counter spell. They've got 3 looks at it too. It's like the Channeler. Discard Spell Pierce probably. Maybe they discard Lightning Bolts. Maybe they discard not Petty Theft. They did discard Spell Pierce. They'll Petty Theft the Archon. We have a push at least for the Borrower flashback. They drew another Murktide. Does another Murktide kill me? Another Murktide is like... Wait, they can bolt me then Murktide me. I can't believe it. I can't believe we're just dead. Wait, no. We go to 1. We go to 1. Yeah, can't persist Golos. Golos is a legend. We only have 7 mana though, so we have to draw a land next turn. Kind of okay if we do though. Awesome. The swings. My hands are shaking. Ugh. We also have the chump block, but that's okay because we have persist. You know, my opponent can draw Unholy Heat. No, they don't have Delirium. They've already used their Brazen Borrower. It's pretty unlikely they have 2. They can draw a counterspell for my persist. So maybe I try to bait counterspell with the Golos. Although maybe, like, I guess why would they counter the Golos? I sure don't like how long they pause there. Could be reading too much into it, I guess. Okay, they don't have a counterspell. That pause, I thought for sure they had it after the pause. They have a second Borrower? Oh, they're flashing in Borrower. They're flashing in Borrower. Okay. So I get to now Fatal Push the Borrower and die to Bolt if they have bolts. But I don't think they have bolt. Famous last words, I guess. It was, drumroll, Basic Island. Alright, alright, alright. This has been like the most terrifying game of Magic I've ever played. Oh man. Oh, the top decked Murktide Regent. Okay, let's bring in the Damnations and the Pushes, I think. With less Lilianas, we have less answers to Archon and the other than compared to the other version. Needle for Relic is also probably fine. Could have grabbed Urborg to trigger Revolt so we don't lose to both. That would have been pretty good, yeah. No, people always want to bring in Dothi against Murktide, but it's just too fragile to their removal. In my opinion. I'm not actually sure. Like, one thing we could do is maybe just actually move off the Reanimator plan completely. And then they're going to bring in... they're going to bring in relics and stuff. I guess we're kind of like a little short to do this. This may be fine, though. Just get to be lean mean, and they're going to bring in relics that are bad. I have to play one card, though. I can play one Voidwalker. Yeah, maybe they trim bolts. They leave in heat, though, right? Play the first persist. Yeah, I can play one persist. I can play the rights. Well, I think I'll just play a Voidwalker. Do a Wizard of the Coast to keep making Modern Horizons every 2-3 years. I personally enjoy when formats change and evolve often. I don't think it has to be Modern Horizons exactly. But that is kind of like the gameplay I enjoy, yeah. I think that a lot of times, a lot of players have this opinion that, you know, they want Modern to stay very much the same forever. And they want their formats to not change very often. And I do want to make the point that I think that is a completely valid stance to have. I think that's very common, very, very fair. It's just not how I prefer the game to be. And we also I've had every Twitch conversation a million times. I guess we can keep having it. Cyborg Plane also looks like it's working out pretty well. But a lot of times people go, well, you only have that opinion because you're a streamer, and it's good for you when the game changes. And yes. Yes. The love is predominantly cost-driven. Yeah, sure. I think if you like it when Modern stays the same, you like it when things don't change. Like, that's a super common opinion, a super valid opinion to have too, you know? I'm gonna try to save the push for the Adash Ragavan potentially. But think if it takes 3 or 4 years before a change that bothers you, do you really want to play the format? Yeah, again, like, I don't think that people in the chat who agree with me and that they like that things to change, I don't think that you should, like, try to persuade anybody. Like, that is the beautiful thing about Magic, is that it's such a diverse and dynamic game that there just is always something for everybody, or at least there's at least some way that someone enjoys the game. And I think that trying to gatekeep how people enjoy the game and gatekeep what people want things to be is wrong. And especially when there's nothing any of us can do about it. Especially when it's probably just going to stay mostly the same. Like, you know, we can't change the course of history very easily. I guess I'm going to try to get them to commit it to one of the Damnations. Again, I think you really want to keep push for Dash Ragavan in this spot. I just don't want my decks to spend a lot of money to be feeling down very quickly. Yeah, I know. I know that that's why you feel this way. That's fine. It's fine. I like it when things change a lot, and you're just never going to make everybody happy. I like when things change a lot. It's just all fine, I think. I understand the arguments towards wanting to keep things the same. We could just have different opinions, and I don't think anybody is going to convince anybody, or anybody has to convince anybody, you know. Okay, so this is mana positive, right? I play map, sack map, 2 mana floating. It's maybe not mana positive per se, but it lets me cast the Damnation anyways. Can't pay for Spell Pierce, I guess. They don't have it though. We can move on. I feel like I always get my biggest weakness as a streamer is I just get super stun locked and repeat myself a bunch. Okay, my opponent's hand is Unholy Heat and a mystery card now. They're pretty far away from Delirium. There's the Ragavan. First turn we don't have push up. Do I have interest in playing some Phoenix? Yes. I've also actually kind of been working on it. Wait, where did their heat go? When did they cast the Unholy Heat? Oh, I took out the Thoughtseize. Sorry. Duh. Obviously, I took out the Thoughtseize. I took out the Thoughtseize because... sorry. I totally forgot. I remember now. Tech for Trader Joe. Discards Ragavan. Second Archon's pretty good. Yeah, this side we're playing seemed like it worked out really well. They just played a turn 1 Relic that was basically a dead card. I like playing Unearth in Heliod. I think this makes a lot of sense. You have a lot of really powerful 3s that your combo revolves around. It's great with Ranger Captain. It's great if they counter your Heliod. You can even just, like, if they, like, try to exile Spike Feeder, you can remove it, reanimate it. I like it. Do I like the Grists? I kind of feel like I would like to see 2 Grist, 3 Unearth. That's how much I like Unearth here. I could be wrong. Maybe you should are kind of light on hits, right? Yeah, never mind. You're right. You're light on hits otherwise. I actually like playing only 3 Conclave Mentor too. You maybe can play... You can maybe play 0 Conclave Mentor though, because that card is... I think kind of quietly always been... That's kind of quietly always been the worst card of the deck. Okay, Dress Down's good for them here. I think I attack. This list looks very cool. I actually don't know that I've got like any changes I'd initially recommend making in the main deck. I do think that maybe Boseiju is maybe not a card you want to play. Like your mana is like kind of rough where Boseiju's not a forest for Utopia Sprawl. You're playing double white and Auriok Champion. It's not a forest for Arbor Elf, and you're splashing black now. So it's probably fine. It's probably fine to play the Boseiju, but I could see this being a deck where you just don't want to include it. And I may be interested in playing like the Abzan Triome here. I'm not. You would have to. I would just want to play some games and kind of get a feel for how the mana is. I would probably play the second Forge Tinder in the sideboard. I also don't think I like Voice that much. I think I would probably like rather play more Veil of Summers or Chokes for those kind of matchups. I know you already have 3 Veil of Summer, but I don't think Voice is a card you really want to be playing. I would probably do something like second Forge Tinder, third Prismatic Ending, third Force of Vigor maybe, or fourth Veil of Summer. In those spots, but this looks great. I think Unearth and Heliod is like kind of like a mind-blowing innovation, and I've been watching a lot of MasterChef right now, and I feel like Gordon Ramsay saying good job. Voice is sack fodder for Frist. Yeah, I don't think that's that relevant. Like Grist makes its own sack fodder. You have other creatures to sacrifice. Like if that was important to have creatures to sack to Grist, you would need to main deck Voice. Which you could actually main deck Voice over Conclave Mentor if you really wanted to, because Conclave Mentor is the worst card in your deck by a lot. Conclave Mentor has always been the worst card in Heliod, and will probably continue to be the worst card in Heliod. What season MasterChef we're on? 2. It's really Esther's been getting really into it. She definitely likes it more than I do, to be honest. Yeah, Crokey's is got to be the Gordon Ramsay of MTG. He's even Scottish. We're watching the early seasons, Hulu. Can you please brew Modern Goblins, Fable the Mirror Breaker, and Patriarch Spitting? Love to see it. I think it's worse than the builds of Goblins I've been playing, so I'm unfortunately unlikely to build it. Opponent with the tank. Well, okay, was that... Opponent? Was that the classic, I'm going to wait 30 seconds in your beginning of combat step to hope that you click through it? Because I kind of feel like that's what that was. I would want to play some games, just kind of see like how the mana is overall before wanting to figure out something like that. Okay, let's keep this. I think I'll put back Marsh Flats. And then lead on Thoughtseize. Don't you love it when you got an easy Thoughtseize? Oh, it's a great draw. Is Conclave Mentor the worst card because you're playing Black as of Earth, Winding Constrictor because of 3 toughness? Well, Conclave Mentor does have like the relevant like dies life gain trigger. I think 3 toughness. Like I know we're kind of like fixated on 3 toughness because of Pioneer. I think I'm just not gonna play Expedition Map into the Prismatic Ending. I know we're kind of fixated on 3 toughness, but the difference between 3 toughness and 2 toughness in Modern is not that big. We have 1 on Burial Rites in the deck to flashback, so just 1 Godless Shrine. Technically, I have Cascading Cataracts too. Yeah, I do think I want to get an Urborg and then second Coffers here. So I can start hardcasting Archons. Opponent's hand is Plains, Prismatic Ending, Solitude, 2 mystery cards. Might take a look at Eldrazi version Cabal covers. I would love to. Yeah, can you post the link in the chat? A single Witch's Cottage, too cute in the deck. So we've talked a lot about Witch's Cottage in the past, and in the other version, I never felt like we had enough creatures to justify the Witch's Cottage. We have more creatures in this version, so I would just have to give it some thought, I guess, but maybe. This is maybe the fabled cottage version. So I have 9 mana, so I can go Archon. The next one I could go like Unmarked Grave for Rights, maybe. And maybe they, Solitude this, whatever. The Castle Locthwain just really makes... The Castle Locthwain in play really makes me want to just start deploying all my threats. What makes this better than Esper Reanimator? You switch it up for fun. I would say it's a bit more than just switching it up for fun. It's more so like playtesting to try to figure out what the best version is. But the draw to this over Esper Reanimator is the ability to dodge Graveyard Hate by having this big mana game plan and just hardcasting your Archons. Also, like one issue I found for the Esper Reanimator deck has been that a lot of the times I find... I'm trying to see what my opponent's doing here. A lot of times I find that... it's so hard to multitask sometimes. You think I'd be better at it than I am. A lot of times you are weak to bounce effects. Out of Rhinos specifically, but just... people bouncing your Archon of Cruelty is a pretty common thing and is somehow a good way to lose the game, specifically in the Rhinos matchup. In this deck, if your opponent bounces your Archon of Cruelty, you just get to start hardcasting it again. And being able to just be... Yeah, and I think like this gives you like a really good comprehensive plan B compared to Esper, Ephemerate, Reanimator. Obviously, it's different. They're 2 different decks. But I would not say that, I just am doing this for fun. I'm doing this for experimentation. Dursty with the 9 months, appreciate you. Enable emote channel point redemption. I thought that was a thing. I can maybe look into it later. Gwen, thank you for the 6 months, appreciate you. What do you get Bant Yorion versus Omnath control or blue-white control? What advantages does Bant really bring? Bant is way better against Omnath, way better against blue-white. I actually think that Bant is the best version, but I think the problem with Bant is that it does struggle to win games in paper. But I think that you don't lose too many relevant percentage points in almost any matchup, to be honest, when you're talking about Bant compared to blue-white. I think comparing it to Omnath is not, like, that good, because Omnath is, like, I think occupies some different matchup shares. But I actually think Bant is better than blue-white in Magic Online, and blue-white is better than Bant in paper for, like, a really small, you know, sound bite, I guess. I don't think it's relevant to keep any of these cards in my yard. Not that I can, I guess, either. Another Castle Lock Twain. Headbands. Do you? Oh no, Penguin. I packed my headbands. I think. No, I didn't. I didn't pack them. I didn't pack them. Sorry, they're over here on the floor. I thought I put these in a box, but I didn't. Yeah, I guess I have to turn off the hat redemption options once I get the hats in a box. Deck Tech 4, Jeff. Thank you, thank you. I think, is this Prismatic Ending? It is. Or sorry, March of Otherworldly Light. Very notably, can't do that with Prismatic Ending, I guess. We're flooding a little bit. We do still have these Castle Lock Twains. Great cards in this matchup. Although I don't think I want to take 5 necessarily. Whatever, I'll take 5. Yeah, never took 5 before. Plus got no cards in their hands. Just so good if we draw anything there. So my general thought is, like, it doesn't make much sense to not play Golos. I think Golos is just, like, better than Invoke Despair after my playtesting. Maybe Invoke Despair is somehow better with the Eldrazi game plan because it gives you, like, more of a creature beatdown draw. Not sure. But I think that I would probably have a hard time wanting to build the deck this way in general. It is kind of interesting, like, you know, I don't feel like the Cabal Coffers Urborg plan plays poorly with the Eldrazi game plan, since, like, you get to also, like, you know, just play Eldrazi Temple, play Thought-Knot Seer early, then assemble Cabal Coffers Urborg. I think it's interesting. What a crazy flood. I will say, though, like, the more I, like, think about the Eldrazi as a deck, like, kind of the less I like them. I also am definitely of the opinion that in the Urborg Cabal Coffers deck, you have to play 4 Profane Tutor. 4 Profane Tutor, 4 Cabal Coffers, 2 Urborg, 4 Expedition Map. This is an engine. This is not, like, something you can think about the numbers on. I'm gonna play this, I think, the Legend rule for Cling to Dust. This is not like a conversation. This is an engine that you have, like, really no wiggle room on. I think that I want to see these cards in every single version of this deck. Maybe we get to take 4 here first before we Cling to Dust. What happened? We were so ahead. I guess we've had like 7 dead draws in a row or something, is what happened. Hopefully not going for 8. Okay, well, I have a Takenuma I can get with this Expedition Map. I think it's probably good to just go ahead and immediately crack that, since the only draws that are really relevant are like... Wait, where's my Takenuma? I don't know how... Sorry, somehow the Takenuma's not in the deck. I don't know if it's just not in the list at all and I forgot to add it. I guess that must be what happened. Should be in the deck. Fuck. Yeah, you need to play 4 Profane Tutors in this list, though. You're also, I think, cheating on removal spells by just playing 2 Fatal Push. Maybe just get the Ugins out of there so you can get the removal spells back in. Blast Zone to level 3 in the meantime. I mean, we could put the Blast Zone to any number we want at any time, you know? Shouldn't really matter. This has been like an incredible case of the run bads. And now we get to Golos, but it gets countered every single time here. We'll Blast Zone to 5 again. We get to put the Blast Zone to any number we want at any time. It doesn't really matter, I think. Should we hold Golos for discard spell? I think we're just supposed to jam. I might hold this discard spell though for the next threat, but because the Golos lets us cling to dust, I think it's correct to cast the Golos there. They have 2 turn Solitudes, they win. Need 2 more mana. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for them to set that up though. Maybe correct at this point. I mean, I guess like what number are we sacking? We might want to sack the Blast Zone on 3. Keep thinning the deck. Keep thinning, keep thinning. I guess I put an Archon in the yard now so that Persist is a good top deck. It is true this version is more threat light than the other one. And I probably just want to start Bloodchief's Thirsting this too. Are we at the point where we have fewer threats than they have answers? I think so. I mean, we've also just we've had like a crazy series of bricks. This has been brutal. All right, these have been some general thoughts on the Eldrazi deck. I think the deck is also cool, I'll say. I've got 3 Bloodchief's Thirsts. I think I'll still put this to 5. So hard to imagine my opponent doesn't have a counterspell here. They've already cast 2 this game. They shouldn't counter this because I did take up the Blast Zone. Cruel, thank you for the 8 months. Appreciate ya. They may counter this one, though. So kind of just like to bait that, you know. Maybe should Thoughtseize first. To gain some pretty relevant life. Awesome. Maybe we weren't threat light after all. They just weren't there. And maybe we were also threat light. Yeah, very normal game. Nothing to see here. Do I get another Verdict? Or should I Thoughtseize? I think I do get another Thoughtseize here. We're not done, either. Not done. I guess I should castle first, actually. Not done. Probably should have castled response to this trigger. Okay. Okay, maybe we were just running bad, huh? Maybe there was still some gas left in the deck. This deck has been painful so far. Kind of interested in trimming on the Unmarked Grave Persist plan. Like, Persist maybe is good after they just counter my Archon and get to bring it back. I'm not sure. Like, I kind of want one Bloodchief's Thirst to... Pedro, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate ya. So we're gonna do something like just play 2 Unmarked Grave, 2 Persist. This is maybe bad. Persistent threat, Mark is not. Well, the thing is, like, they have so much exile-based removal. It's kind of the problem. I like Fulminator too. It's way better on the play, but let's just maybe see if we can maybe do something like... We did this against, I might still play the Rights, because it's good against counter magic, but we did something like this against Blue-Red earlier, just had, like, this sideboard plan where we cut all of our reanimation plan, and then they boarded in a lot of graveyard hate that was pretty dead, or mostly dead. Needle's like kind of okay too. We could try this. I think I like the sideboard plan, but I think I would kind of like to rebuild the sideboard and try to flesh this plan out a bit more. I'll go 4% 0 grave. Well, the problem is you have like no way to get Archon in the yard without the Unmarked Graves. You would play at least one that's a profane tutor target. But like another issue I have with that plan is that my opponents are just really likely to be able to exile my Archon. So, like, persisting, it's, like, not even that good of a plan. They're going to bring in a lot of Rest in Peace, I imagine. There's a good chance... I think that they probably boarded out there. I think they probably boarded out there. Yeah, we need that Tekanuma, too. We'll mess around with the list a little bit. Yeah, see, and now, like, we just boarded out our reanimation plan. I think this plan has been good so far. I hate that we drew all 3 Bloodchief's Thirst, though. Like, these have been, like, the worst possible draws. Is your mono red deck's fires finished, or do you have any changes? I'm really liking where the list is at the moment. Okay, well, at least we've got a target now. I think I'd get a second Coffers first. And then... Yeah, they did this on 0 because we got Profane Tutor. 4 cards in their hand. Kahira in the hand now. So we have 6 mana. I'm gonna get a Castle Locked Wing with this, I imagine. Should we slide out an Archon or 2 for not Unmarked Grave? No, we need all the threats in this matchup. And like you can hardcast the card with like not much problem at all, which is again a huge part of like this deck's idea in the first place. Okay, Cling to Dust is dead with the Rest in Peace, and what's terrible about the Cling to Dust here is we can't even get it out of our hand. Can't even get it out of the hand. For the Castle Locked Wayne. Doing Grief alongside Persist, or is it? Yeah, that card's not good without other ways to abuse it. Well, I guess we're casting all the Thirsts. Although maybe they'll counter the third one. I think it was good to kill the Kahira, because like the Kahira like stops my Castle Locked Wayne plan, kind of. So Rest in Peace does beat Voidwalker, or like Voidwalker doesn't get to put anything in play with a Void counter. Okay, that just worked. Draw a card, take 3. 1 mana short of casting Liliana. Oh, but Liliana does get the Cling out of my hand. Liliana is very good with Castle Locked Wayne. So Liliana is pretty good counter bait if they have a counter spell of some kind. They discard a second copy of Rest in Peace. I think I'm going to draw a card here before maybe casting Archon, maybe not casting Archon. I think I kind of prefer to just not cast the Archon. Seems like if my opponent just has nothing, I'm winning that game anyways. The Liliana gets to pressure their hand. I have Duress in my deck at the moment. Maybe I'm just happy if they're solituding this and not the Archon of Cruelty. No, Rest in Peace stops anything from getting void counters. I think we should have not killed the 3 fairy. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, I always prioritize getting my hand empty when I've got Castle Locthwain. Maybe Liliana is our sideboard plan. Maybe we move into more Lilianas. If our sideboard plan is to like cut the reanimation plan against like Murktide and Fetch to Thin. Fetching, I think again, I think like reducing your life total when you have Castle Locthwain in play is just not something you should do. So not fetching to Thin here. Sorry, I was losing my train of I keep losing my train of thought today. But like yeah, maybe we if our plan is to sideboard if our plan is to sideboard out the Unmarked Grave Persist against a lot of decks, against at least decks that we think are gonna have graveyard hate, then like Liliana is maybe like the other card we need to supplement this plan. Just like one Liliana main as a tutor target 3 side or something like that. Yeah, my train of thought is all over the place today. I'm gonna suspend this to I guess maybe getting out of the hand is a bad argument because of the Liliana. They have the Chalice though. Probably doesn't matter much anyways. Or Invoke. Yeah, maybe some numbers of Invoke. I am pretty interested though. Like this sideboard plan has been really good so far in both of these matches, and like I think that we can improve it too without diminishing the quality of the deck much. It obviously gets worse once people know about it, I guess, but it's also like they still kind of have to bring in the graveyard hate because what if you don't side your graveyard hate out? Does your random side plan only work if people are expecting it? Yeah, I don't know. Like, that may be the kind of like thought process where you end up out leveling yourself and you stop employing what is like just like seems to be like a really good, reasonable plan because you're thinking too hard for your opponents. That could be the case. Okay, so we get to Golos, a Cataracts into play. We can also get Blast Zone, but seems better. Again, just getting these out of the hand. I know they get chaliced. Gotta keep that hand small. Yeah, this deck's been pretty good so far. I mean, sorry, at least like the sideboard plan's been good. We were obviously 0-2 with the 2-0. Kind of stumbled, obviously, a little bit the first league. So what for decks are we sideboard juking? Counterspell decks, decks with a lot of graveyard hate too. I'm gonna keep this hand. Might go to discard on turn 1. Might not, obviously, too. Yeah, Saga decks in general, too, I think are good. Yeah, we maybe want to be playing, like... Maybe Invoke Despair is also better than Liliana in the sideboard. I could see that being the case. Okay, I really want them to Burning Inquiry. So I'll take the lore, I guess. Yeah, I have 1 Turok at the moment. It's maybe something like second Liliana. Maybe it's just 3 Invoke Despairs. Could cut one of the Damnations. 4, just play 4 Invoke. It's kind of a lot. Liliana's better against Murktide, probably. Okay, they did cast the Burning Inquiry. I lost my Persist, though. That's kind of frustrating. Now I've got 3. I didn't discard any of my Archons. Guess that's how she goes. I should have got a Godless Shrine there, too. Yeah, I need the Takenuma. Wait, they made a food token end of turn? It's kind of weird. Let's probably just take out a fetch line for Takenuma. Ah! Scary. Okay, we need our opponent to cast another Burning Inquiry. Wrong one. Ah. This game could have gone so much better. Is Path of Peril playable now that we have a white source? I mean, that cards are like only good against Hammer Time and Rhinos. I think Damnation is generally better too, since it comes down on your Profane Tutor turn. Turok is pretty big in this matchup. Okay, we have a lot of sideboard cards. I'm gonna cut the Thoughtseizes. Cut the Liliana of the Veil. Should cut the 4th Archon. I might cut the Goloses here. We have 1 Golos maybe as a tutor target. Should have an Markgrave against the Inquiry deck. Maybe that's bad. Not sure. Keep this. I'll play this just so they don't Burning Inquiry it away. Urborg's really important to have in play. Flameblade Adept on turn 1. It's pretty dicey to let your opponent untap a Flameblade Adept, but maybe it's okay. If it means you have Voidwalker, they don't get to like put Vengevine in the graveyard. They don't get to put anything in the graveyard until they kill this. It's not good against Lane 2, it's also good against Shadow. Okay, that's true. I'm not sure that the Shadow matchup is super relevant, but yes, I do agree with that statement. Okay, discard 1 Bloodshoots Thirst and a Turok, and now I've got no land. Guess I have a land I could play off the Voidwalker. To be honest, like my first inclination here is to go Thirst, and then cast Burning Inquiry off Voidwalker. Like, look at my hand. I have to cast Burning Inquiry. Oh no! Oh, what was stupid punt? Sorry. What a wild match. How aggressive I work on the sideboard? Eldrazi Titan. I've played Emrakul in the sideboard before. But Cycle's Hollow one. What a goofy game. Ugh. Okay, this lets me get a persistent a couple turns. 1K coming up. Field is Unknown. Choice of 5 card Niv, Elementals, 4-color Ragavan Yorion. The Ragavan Yorion pile. I do also think it's a little funny. Like, what do people mean when they say Field is Unknown? Because I'm not sure that has, like... What does that mean exactly? You know what I mean? Because at this point, you should have, like, an idea of, like, what the modern metagame looks like, you know? Wait, they sacked the Asmo? Asmo can kill Archon. That was definitely a mistake. Morality, thank you for the 5 months. Appreciate ya. Yeah, I think it was a mistake to cut the second Unmarked Grave. Both players played that game, not great. They probably wanted to activate with F6. Yeah, I wonder if maybe they clicked on Asmo wanting to activate it, and then they were F6, and then they sacked it on accident. Probably reading a little too much into it. Misclickly tried to use it. Yeah, so like, they went to click the Asmo to activate its ability, but when they clicked it, but the trigger was already on the stack. Is kind of what I'm guessing. I don't know if this like has any. If that's like what, you know, close to what happened. Who knows, right? I am gonna put a Sarah's Emissary in the graveyard though, and hope. Oh, this deck can actually hardcast Sarah's Emissary because of Cascading Cataracts. Been feeling Asmo is not good to mono inside a specific deck. I liked it in the mono red Asmo deck I was playing. Hopefully we're not dead this turn. The mono red like Aether Grid Asmo deck, I like that deck a lot. Talk about sideboard chest Duress over IOK. I mean, Duress is just like way more relevant against Tron, Belcher, blue-white control than Inquisition of Kozilek, which is kind of like the matchups you wanted for, right? Like, Inquisition is way better main deck card, and I think Duress is a better sideboard card. I know Duress is uncommon in Modern, but I think it makes sense here. Mr. Streamer has been streaming the whole time. Articles up with thoughts on digital Premiere Play article. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Is this? Yeah. What are the new format article is out? I'm assuming. Here's dead if they attack. No, Sarah's Emissary means I take no damage from creatures. Article posted 30 seconds ago. Okay. Let's embrace that. Let's get this over with. Last month, we announced the return of the Pro Tour and high-level tabletop play. The first refresh of our tabletop system since the pandemic set us off the rails more than 2 years ago. With tabletop play returning, it also means we have an opportunity to revisit our digital Premiere Play system world, where both tabletop and digital play live side by side. For those of you who have already read about our tabletop Premiere Play path, recommend you check out the first articles, blah blah blah. Magic Online Premiere Play, Arena Premiere Play, digital play, frequently asked questions. Okay, hold on. So, Magic Online paths to the Pro Tour. I imagine it's just gonna be like Pro Tour qualifiers still. At a high level, what you read about Magic Online Premier Tournaments are staying the same. So obviously, what I expected. Champion Showcase, qualifiers, super qualifiers, challenges, all staying the same. Only now they'll plug into a larger tabletop ecosystem. It's great. Remedy with the 4 months. Appreciate ya. They don't have 3 lightning bolts in their hand. But wait, there's more. Winner and runner-up showcase event or during direct invitations world championship. I think that's pretty. That used to be how it'd be. Winner and second would get invitations to worlds from the box. Maybe it was just the winner. Seems like it's gonna be mostly how it's been or how people expected it to be. Which I think is fine. I didn't feel like they really needed to reinvent the wheel. Qualifiers of both clients. Events having a purpose, queuing into the big paper tournaments. Generally positive impression, I guess. Portable hole, portable hole. Portable hole is surprisingly good here against my double expedition map hands. I gotta take this Urza, I guess. And then hope to draw a land that doesn't get portable hold. Yeah, I don't think they didn't announce the mystery format still, right? That's still not a thing. That wasn't in the announcement. This was a different announcement. I guess we suspend that. If it's Modern, are we happy? If Modern comes to Arena, are we happy? I mean, I don't think... I personally really want there to only be one client for Magic Online play or Arena play. I just want it to be one client. I think we have a rift in the player base, and I would like to see that rift mended. And that's just it seems silly to me that that's just a dream. Why does it seem so impossible for there to just be one client? But that being said, it's modern is not coming to Arena. Like it's just not going to happen. It's just the infrastructure just isn't there. Yeah, they didn't leave the relic activation up, so we did have a window to maybe draw persist. We're dead. Going to game 3 or game 2. Sorry. You know, they do have a lot of access to Graveyard Hate being a Saga deck, it may be correct for me to try to figure out. Obviously, we don't have like the full comprehensive sideboard plan in the sideboard yet. We'll be doing that, but this may be fine. Voidwalker's kind of good in this matchup because you can get like Thought Monitor, Urza. They probably set up their portable holes. Seems fine. My thoughts on Esper Ephemerate Reanimator. I have a big soft spot for the deck. I really like it. I haven't had too many ideas on how to improve it lately, but I won a challenge with it one time. I like the deck. The reality of programming all those cards really sounds almost impossible, or many year process. Yeah, I know. I have been of the opinion for a long time that it would be in Wizards' best interest to hire an outside, to hire someone else to make a new client. And like maybe you call it Arena, whatever, who cares. But just, I think hiring somebody else to make the client, I think makes a lot of sense to me. I've been saying this for years, and I think if they had like started years ago, and I think when the problem first became apparent, then maybe it wouldn't be as big a problem as now, or seem so insurmountable as it seems now. Yeah, make a third client and then have that client like suck up Arena and Magic Online, import the collections from both, have both formats, ideally an economy more like Magic Online than Arena. But that would be the idea. Isn't Daybreak Games working on managing Moto Client now? It's a third party. That's different from what I'm describing. I'm describing hiring a different company to program a new client. If I was the CEO of Hasbro, that's what I would do. And I am the CEO of Hasbro. This is the announcement. I just want one client for Magic Online Player, so I'm positioning a third client. Yeah, I don't think people. Maybe I didn't express myself very well, but what I'm saying is that client would absorb Magic Online and Arena. It would be one client that would have all the formats: Historic, Alchemy, Modern, Legacy, Pioneer, Vintage, Cube Drafts. It would have ideally a better user interface than Magic Online has, maybe even a better user face than Arena has. It would have all the cards on it, and it would be built in this millennium. That's the dream. This, I think that would be the best thing. And then ideally you would be able to import your collections from both Magic Online and Arena. And then Wizards would mail you $100. In retrospect, Arena would have been this client. Yeah, so like obviously like this was always the goal for Arena, right? This was the goal for Arena, to be a new and improved Magic Online, a Magic Online that is built in this century, this millennium, whatever, and that was always the goal for Arena. And like I think it's like not a super hot take to say that Arena like really failed in that regard. In my opinion, at least, it did. And so, like, this would just kind of be, like, a redo. And, like, to be honest, you probably, like, whatever this new client is called, like, it's going to be, like, theoretically, like, this is just, like, Spike fixes the, the game, I guess. But, I would probably call the client... I would call the client Arena. I would call it Magic Arena, because Wizards has spent so much time and money marketing the Arena brand name. You know what I mean? Sorry, my game plan here is to play their copy of Urza Saga so we can get an Expedition map down the line, or potentially just use the chump blockers to chump block their Saga tokens while I Damnation, and have Golos trade for the Metallic Rebuke. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna get Blast Zone then. They got 4 1-drops over there. Oh, they couldn't Metallic Rebuke. Sorry, they couldn't Metallic Rebuke. That's right. Well, you can sell them TJ cards for dollars. Yeah, ideally in this dream fantasy world that doesn't exist. Ideally, that would be that I would have that same economy system, or that That would be what I would want to happen in a new client too. I think I will say, like, none of this sounds that likely. None of this sounds that likely. This is all just kind of like wish list stuff, right? Oh, I should have sorry, I should have blast zone before blockers. Okay, they didn't block. So I think I need to blast zone before this Saga trigger happens so that they can't needle me. The ports note that they nerfed the EV events in exchange for these new play points. Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with how, like, the arena, like, play system worked to really comment on that, to be honest. I will say, like, every single, like, arena economy decision what Wizards has seemed to make has been, like, just the greediest ever, really short-sighted, to be honest. So, they did have the needle. They can name this Saga? They do name Saga. So I'm gonna get, Cabal Coffers? Oh, sorry. Not yet. I'm getting Expedition Map, which would have gotten me Cabal Coffers, but now I just drew Cabal Coffers. So I'll play the Coffers, activate it. I know my opponent has Metallic Rebuke, so I have to play around that this whole game. Sad Damnation, lose the Golos. And then I guess I just get an Urborg now. Ron, thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate you. Now they've got a needle naming Urza Saga. Youngster Dennis, thank you for the Twitch Prime. New forwards could be Alchemy Plus. This is what people keep going, saying it's gonna be Alchemy Plus, it's gonna be Historic Plus. But it's just like, you might be right. You might be right, but it's like, why would it be that? Like, what's weird, I think the only argument for it's going to be Historic Plus, it's going to be Alchemy Plus, is that Wizards is dumb and they don't know what they're doing. I think that's, like, literally the only reason why people think that that's going to happen. And at the very least, I don't think they're that dumb. I don't think that they are that out of touch that they feel like that's what Arena needs, is like another format that people get whiplashed by and nobody plays. I don't think that that's what's going to happen. Could be wrong, I guess, but that's at least my take at the moment. Okay, Super Punisher pushing. I just want to get my hand empty, of course, when you have the Castle Locked Win in play. Big draw. Okay, can take the Cauldron out of their hand now, and then maybe cast it with the Voidwalker next turn. But we are dead to any artifact. Ugh. It's gonna be that because that's what everyone was asking for when they revealed all alchemized cards would be historic default. So it's gonna be historic but without alchemy cards. Okay. Okay. I believe that. I'm, not in tune enough with, like, what's going on Arena to really, like, have the impression that what the format needs is what the client needs is another format. But if that's what people want, then hooray, huh? It's hard to, like, just, like, feel like any of that's gonna come true, or any like single announcement like that is just gonna happen. You know what I mean? Okay, let's keep this one back second tutor, I think. Slad Nas, thank you for the 4 months. Appreciate ya. Usually lead on Thoughtseize with these hands. Playing against Mill. Okay, I'll take the Visions of Beyond and suspend a Profane Tutor on turn 2. Yeah, I think I actually just want them to trap me, and I want to them to do it sooner rather than later so that I can just maybe top deck a Persist, and before they can find a Surgical. Maybe I just get milled out instead. And maybe I'm gonna be just out of persists. I do have rights in the yard, so I can definitely flash back the rights next turn. I only have 13 cards in my library. I have no Cabal Coffers, no Urborg. I have nothing left. Mill. Yep, mill. I don't know why they still think Pioneer is the way I have a bigger format modern. Pioneer is a good format too. There could be multiple good formats. Okay, I also say, like, a lot of people are saying there's no way it's going to be Pioneer added. But, like, I think adding Pioneer to Arena would be kind of nice. Because then it's like you have... you have, Magic Online players and Paper players and Arena players who are all interested and invested in the same format for the first time in like 3 years, and they all get to meet together at the Pro Tour, and I think that would be maybe like a nice unifying thing for the player base. I usually don't feel like I need that many pushes in this matchup. Usually when I board up a few extra cards, it seems fine. I would play Pioneer if it was on Arena. Yeah, I would. I think Pioneer would. Yeah, I think it would actually be a great Arena format too. No, it wouldn't because of Lotus Field actually. Lotus Field would probably be a hard deck to play on Arena. Maybe it'd be fine. Maybe it'd be fine. That's sad because Pioneer is not modern. Pioneer is really boring. I mean, listen, you're allowed to like or dislike what you like or you dislike. I'm enjoying Pioneer, personally. Momo, thank you for the 11 months. Appreciate it, chat. You know, my advice to you guys is to give Pioneer a chance. I have been pretty pleasantly surprised by it. I took the time to play it off stream to see if the format was even interesting in the first place. I took the time to do a lot of brewing off stream, and I feel like there's a lot of room for brewing and innovation. The games are interesting. If you don't like it, that's fine. But I do kind of feel like I get the vibe that a lot of people are not even interested in giving Pioneer a chance. And that's a shame, because the format's pretty good. Sparring Spike WotC shill era begins. I sure hope not. I feel like I always try to speak my mind, you know. Off stream testing with Blue Red Dragons go last night. I need to rebuild the deck a little bit. I had some cards that I didn't think were that good. After testing, we'll see how it goes. Okay, this is going to be a slower game. I think I'm going to play Liliana Edict. Dexter get a Urborg, probably. What's the discard out for the reanimation? One Liliana Umbergrave? Yeah, Umbergrave, but the idea is that... So, like, I know that most Random decks are, like, you need to play discard effects to discard your Archons, right? This deck doesn't, is the idea, at least. The idea is that this deck doesn't need to play dedicated discard effects, because you could just hardcast your Archons. Don't I already have an Urborg? Oh, sorry. I do already have an Urborg, so we get a second Coffers. And... I think I'm going to go... This is kind of like a weird line, but what I'm going to do here is float a lot of mana, and then plus Liliana, discard Voidwalker, and this is going to just kind of like maybe make my opponent discard something that they wouldn't discard otherwise. But all I'm doing is plusing Liliana and casting Thoughtseize. Like, that's going to be the whole turn no matter what. Oh my gosh, what a hand. So I still have 2 Archons in the deck. I mean, Tasha's isn't that good against me, right? Right. Copium. I guess they can't cast Fractured Sanity yet, though. But if my whole turn was just cast Thoughtseize, I kind of like just try to bluff that I was going to do something, and maybe that impacts their Liliana decision. Yeah, famous last words. Am I gonna play Blue Red Wizards again soon? I feel like I need to tune it up a little bit. There's like a lot of different directions to go with that deck that I'm like not sure of, to be honest. And I like the deck. I think it has a lot of potential, but it's just hard for me to be like, yes, I'm definitely gonna figure the deck out in the next couple days. Things just take time. And time is all it takes. We do get them empty carded. Got an Archon of Cruelty in play. Yeah, probably none of the options involve Adeliz. My higher lower ob, the adversary in Modern. I'm relatively low on it in Modern. I think it's somewhat playable. I'm not one of those people that are like acting like this card's gonna redefine the format. Spike, you get to Ragavan on turn 2. Cast it. You get Manador. Cast it, this Planeswalker on turn 2. I think the card is going to be fringe playable in Modern and good in Pioneer is going to be my current evaluation of the card. As someone who's never cast it yet, and evaluations really often change too, but that would be my guess. I have not dropped the tier list yet. I think I'm going to wait to do it till after I play with the cards this weekend in the pre-release. Wait, you play in Death Shadow, just sack a 7 Shadow and dome your opponent for 7 life. This is also like the problem I think everybody has with the... everybody's like really lost to the sauce. Where you're like, Spike, it's so easy. You copy your Asika's Chariot. You sack your 7/7 Death Shadow. You have a 7 loyalty Planeswalker. If you have a 7/7 Death Shadow and you have a 3-mana spell that resolves, you win that game most of the time. In most matches of Modern, you win that game like most of the time. If your opponent's like not interacting with your 7/7 Shadow, they don't have a removal spell for it. If you're copying your Chariot, you're winning that. If you have an active Chariot, you're winning that game most of the time. If you have an active Ob, you're winning that game most of the time. These are like really like win more scenarios that are not like, in my opinion, like good cohesive game plans. The Emissary doesn't protect you much against Mill. You can bring it in, though. Oh, what a nauseating top deck. Ugh. I guess I have to blast them, then. Guess I just Archon. Or sorry, just persist, make them use the Lantern at this point. Splash for ending. So we had a lot of success so far this league with just the plan of siding out the reanimation and sideboard games, or sideboard games where we think there's going to be a lot of graveyard hate, and just hard casting the Archons. That's going to be our main game plan going forward, I think. Okay, so I know my opponent's last card is Archive Trap. So if I plus, they're going to Field of Ruin me and Archive Trap anyways. So I think I just have to minus. And then I'll have 27 cards in my library. One of them is an Archon now. Although they milled over my Godless Shrine. What cards did the reanimation package replace? I mean, you could look at the two decks and then look at the differences. I don't think that's necessarily something I need to walk you through. Not play map. Oh, sorry. I should have played the map. I should have played the map. 24 cards left in my library. Definitely gonna be a game that comes down to top decks. One kind of tough thing in this spot is that my opponent can hardcast Archive Trap if they draw that, so that's not gonna be a dead draw for them. Looks like they drew like a Surgical Effect, and I don't know what they're targeting. It should probably be Archon of Cruelty. What's the difference between Jund Saga and Saga's Jund? Yeah, I think chat has told you it's Urza Saga. Okay, they exile the Cabal Coffers. I think I'm pretty happy with that being the choice. Is it worth considering a second shrine for the list? It's worth considering. I think it's unnecessary. White is literally only for the flashback of the rights. I think it's gonna be, and you also have a Cataracts as another white source, which is actually I think what we're tutoring with our map. The Cataracts is not in the yard, right? My eyes don't work so good. Wait, where is? Oh, it was in the exile zone. Okay, I guess I'm getting Castle Locthwain then. I forgot to check the exile. My eyes don't work so good. Yeah, we should be playing Attack Enuma. It was. I thought it was in the list. I started to build this deck off of a earlier draft of the Mono Black Coffers deck. I actually started to build this version before the other Mono Black Coffers list I was working on, and it was just an oversight to like re-add the Takenuma. I thought it was in the deck. We'll be adding it again. Okay, they drew another Surgical, which doesn't really matter. We may die to Atasha's, but we also might not. We have one Golos, one Unburial Rites. Is like 2 5-drops still in the deck. At least. They go to left map uncracked. I think that would be fine. I think at least in the context of like thinking you still have Cascading Cataracts in the deck, it makes sense to crack. Alright, GG. Ooh. Tense match. So we are going to rework the deck a little bit. I think